Hey everybody, um, my name's Colton, and I'm going to be sharing my experience with withdrawal, post-acute withdrawal syndrome after a detox from Subutex, buprenorphine, Suboxone, um, whatever it is that you're trying to get off of and achieve recovery. Um, so I just want to try to go through the things that worked for me and go through things that didn't work for me. Just some items that I think will be really important for you to get through this really uncomfortable process. And, unfortunately, it's just what we've got to do sometimes because, living our lives dependent on something is not, in my opinion, always normal. And my doctor, that I was on Suboxone for about 1.5 years, and then I was on Subutex for the last 3.5 years. So I was on these long-acting opioids for quite some time, and I will say that if you have been on those medications for that long, it's going to be a process. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to pretend to be one, but from what I've experienced and all the videos I've looked at, it's the physical part will definitely be the most uncomfortable when we all know that as addicts, or people that are dependent on opioids or have become dependent on them. It's not a comfortable deal, but I suggest that if you are gonna be making this decision, to have a good game plan. And I also want to talk about, just really briefly, real quick, while I'm kind of thinking about it, is, if you can do, I watched another video, I can't remember his name, but it really kind of made a lot of sense. If you can do a taper to taper off these medications, do it. It'll make it a lot more easier. The addiction I have with the opioids, it's not gonna happen for me. I injured my back and got surgery this last spring, and the last year or so, a little bit longer, that I was on the Subutex, I was abusing them pretty bad to help with the pain. I had very bad sciatic nerve pain, and my foot was numb, just really bad stuff. And so, the videos throughout this process, it's been 25 days for me. I wish I would have made a video sooner. I made every excuse not to, so this is my first video. 25 days, so we're gonna go through how my mistakes, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I'm perfect. I didn't use any other, narcotics to get off this medication. I just made trial and error mistakes, and so we'll go through the detox process that I went through with the Subutex when I took my last dose, which we'll get right into it, which was December 18th, 2019. It was a Wednesday. I think I did about 6 milligrams that last night of Subutex. I had the tablets, and you can figure out the rest for yourself. They weren't going under my tongue, that's for sure. So anyways, and I say that with respect, because I was struggling, and I knew I started school. I got kids, I have a life, and I knew I made the decision in September to do this, and it was my resolution. It was a goal to be off of these medications and regain my my clear thought process again, if that makes sense, because I really don't care what the doctors say. My doctor didn't want me to get off. He's like, just take it forever, but the thing is these medications mess with our dopamine levels, our neurotransmitters. They supply so many things for our body that our body stops producing, and I'll get into that later, and you're welcome to research it yourself because you'll have plenty of time. One thing I heard a lot of people say, that the a withdrawal between heroin, which I've withdrawed off heroin, Oxycontins, pills, just the whole nine. That's a much more rapid, quick withdrawal, much more uncomfortable and painful. However, the Subutex is quite mild, is the way I would describe it, but I want to reiterate what I saw a lot of people say, and it's doable. It's doable, guys. If you have the resources to get a gym pass, I highly, highly recommend to go get a gym pass. I sweat in the sauna for about 30 minutes. I'd get out, wipe off, go do a walk on the treadmill I would burn about 75 to 100 calories, hit the sauna again, then I would finish in the steam room. Just sweat that nasty shit out of your body. And excuse my French, because it is shit. Anyway, so let me get back on track, and I'm rambling. I'm sorry, guys. I haven't slept very much, and so let me get back on track. I really hope this is helpful for you guys, because the videos that I watched, man, I would just zone into those late at night when, you got the creepy crawlies, you got the restlessness, your legs are hurting, your whole body hurts. I really was so grateful. And so let's go through the timeline. Like I said, it was the 18th. I went about 8 days, and it was pretty mild. It's doable. Didn't get much sleep. And so the depression was horrible. Probably between the depression and the insomnia, not sleeping was the hardest. Like I said, the withdrawal was quite mild from what I experienced in the past. And so, just a really quick segue so I can kind of give you guys my experience as an opioid addict or dependent. I first introduced myself with opioids when I was 17, and that was back a long time ago. 2005, 2006, 7, 8, and 9. I was I graduated very quickly from prescriptions to oxys to the heroin, and so I've experienced all that. And went to jail, detox. That was horrible. Spent some time in there, and then I was clean for about 5 years, and I had a relapse, and this is how I ended up on this Subutex. But the depression was bad. Really got me thinking about my actions in my life and just everything I want to change for the better. And so one thing I did to combat that was music, which is amazing. I forgot my love of music. They say those opioids numb you out, your emotions and everything, and so does the Subutex. It's a long acting. It's nothing like the hardcore stuff, but it can be easily as addictive and evil. So music, man, get a good playlist, and man, I would just sit on my couch with my headphones on, and I would just sit there and just go through it. That was a really, really big thing. The second thing is eating. You're obviously, if you've been through withdrawal, you're not going to want to eat, right? You're not going to want to eat. Do it. I'm telling you, eat, eat, eat. Your body is changing the minute those doses go away. And my wife is a nurse, and she's never used anything in her life, and she just really doesn't. She's been great, but she just didn't understand why I couldn't sleep, and man, and it's a process. So, but I would get water, and my kid's been living on McDonald's, Arby's, and whatever else, and I would just choke down a couple sandwiches, and man, by day 4 or 5, whenever I would eat, I would feel so much better for an hour or two. So please make sure you're eating. It's hard. I know it is. I didn't want to eat nothing besides smoke cigarettes and feel bad for myself. So please eat. Please, please. The sauna, the gym, if you have those options, please do it. It'll get it out of your system quicker. So anyways, we're going to go on a kind of a journey here, so bear with me. On Christmas Day, I'm sitting here detoxing with my 2 beautiful kids, and we're opening presents, and I'm feeling horrible that I'm in this situation on Christmas Day. And so, I go upstairs and looking around, and I find a Suboxone, an old one. And, because like I said, last 3.5 years I was on Subutex. Anyways, so, of course, my demons tricked me, and I pieced about 2 milligram, 1.5. I tried to make it last, because in my head at the time, I was thinking, I was on day 8, guys, and I was still sweating. I was feeling real bad. And so I really think there is a huge difference between if you're on this medication for 4 or 5 years versus 6 months to a year, like a lot of the doctors recommend to get off opioids. It can make a difference, and everything I found online said, oh yeah, your detox will be 3 to 5 days. Not me. I was 8 days in. I was going to dinner at my family's, and I wanted to feel better. And I wanted to have a smile on my face for my kids and everybody else. So I did that and started over the process. It was December 30th or 29th, and I go 5 days in, and I'm watching these videos, and I discover Kratom. And like I said, I started school, and the semester was starting soon. I was like, man, I don't want to have to skip this semester. I have a lot of stuff going on. My kid's going back to school. I got to get better. This Kratom looks like it's an option, and let's talk about that for a minute. I did research it and heard a lot of great things, more good than bad. But I have a very addictive personality, especially to opioids. So if you're looking to detox, I would highly suggest to look into Kratom. Check out YouTube. There's some recovery facilities and therapists. I don't know what their titles were, passionate people, whatever, but they gave a lot of really good information and dialogue of of like dosage and so when I start taking it, they're like, yeah, you just use a teaspoon. And I'm like, I ain't using no teaspoon. That's not gonna help me. A freaking tablespoon in it, man. That can't be right. They must be confusing their measurements. So there I go. And then, so I was on it for 4 days, and I was gradually getting down to that teaspoon. And I had a bad day and like triple tablespooned it one day. And anyways, the school semester started that next day, and I just said, you know what? This ain't gonna work. What's your goal? Set goals. And I quit. And that's when I started going to the gym. And then I started detoxing from frickin' Kratom, because it had been 8 days at that point, and I think it takes about 8 days for the Subutex, the buprenorphine, to get out of your system completely. And man, the kratom one, I don't know exactly what I was detoxing from at that point. I was just so out of it. The 5 days that I used this Suboxone is the only sleep I've had, good sleep, 6 to 8 hours in 25 days. I feel good right now. The kratom I got out of me in 2 days. The half-life, I think you can look it up. They say the half-life is like, you have to dose it every 3 to 5 or 4 to 6 hours. It's very dependent, supposedly. And again, I'm not giving medical advice. I'm not a professional, obviously. It's very dependent, the kratom strands and the dosage, on your biochemistry. So I would highly suggest that you understand that. I am a firm believer of kratom. And if I was to do this again, I would probably use it and have a really good game plan of what my dose would be. I don't ever plan on going back though. So kratom is a great thing. The FDA is trying to regulate it and make money off it. That's my own gripe about it. I don't think that they should do that, because a lot of people, if you start researching it, have had a lot of success with it. And a lot of people haven't. It can be very habit forming too, and that's why I stopped, because I just don't have time to keep numbing my emotions, keep being dependent on something that's taking away my natural personality and my natural way of life and who I am. And the buprenorphine, I'm sure a lot of you can say that it took that person I've lost, and I'm trying to find it again. I don't want to get too emotional or personal, but I know it's personal for all of us. These doctors say they want us on it forever. Oh yeah, no. Why? The mind is powerful, and so I'll update you guys again tomorrow. It's been 17 minutes, and I really hope some of you sat through my ADD rambling here, and I hope it helped. But it's doable, guys. The withdrawal symptoms were very mild compared to anything that I was using on a daily basis in my 20s. I'm 31 now, so very doable. Before we close, let's talk about pause real quick. The post-acute withdrawal syndrome. I think that's another thing that you need to think about. Okay. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I do understand how drugs can affect somebody's body. And I know everything I experienced in the last 3 weeks, 3.5, I guess now. And guys, especially if you've been on oxys, heroin, the bupe, the methadone, whatever, if you've been on that for a year, longer, or even 6 months, your body has got, its natural ways, dopamine or whatever. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know it all, but I know how I should be feeling or how I want to feel. And once you get the acute withdrawal done, the physical withdrawals done, you're still going to probably have a hard time sleeping. Don't believe everything you see online. I mean, you'll read things that'll say, post-acute withdrawal syndrome symptoms, whatever, can last up to 2 weeks to a year. I don't think so. So here's what I did. And if you have this option, I highly suggest it. And maybe some of you, this will be for some of you. For me, guys, I'm like I said, I'm in school. I got 2 kids. I got an 18-month-old daughter, and I just have to keep busy. That's another thing. Keep busy if you can. And so I went to a doctor about 21 days, about 4 days ago, because I was exhausted, man. I had enough. I was so tired. And this whole process, my bad decisions throughout it, had affected me so bad psychologically I was beating myself up so bad. And you will do that probably because you're going to be in such an emotional, depressed, anxiety, very irritable state. You're going to be needing, and the reason why, once you get that withdrawal out of you, your body's trying to fix itself. And that's why it's important to eat. Your body's going through all this stuff. You've got to get those proteins in you. You got to get those calories. It'll eat it up, man. I'm telling you, bro. Just do it. I feel so good that I'm making this video right now because I really hope somebody sat through 20 minutes of this and found it interesting. But I went and got on an SSRI. I think it's called duloxetine or something. And I don't really feel like it's helping me. Well, it is. Like, and I'm gonna share something, man. When I was jamming to music, and I found it therapeutic, man. I would just break down and cry because I'm a kind of guy that, you know, I'm very prideful and, you know, perfectionist, and I want to do the right thing and do the job right first time. And I'm not working right now either, which is a godsend too, guys. I'm a stay-at-home dad for now, and I haven't been working since I injured my back. And you know, I just was rewinding the tape of 5 years of this, or 4.5 years of this drug I've been taking, and how it really has changed me into an isolated, bitter person. And that is not Colton. That's not me, bro. That is not me. And that's not anybody else. I'm sure of it. And if you got this goal, you can do it. So yeah, I got on the SSRI, and my emotions are a lot more stable. I'd be watching movies, Teenage Mutant, or like, you know, any movie, comedy movie, and I'd just freaking start breaking down, man, you know, and for no reason. And I say that as a man with a heart and a soul that I'm trying to fix myself, and it's not going to be easy for any man or woman out there. And I hope this helped, and I hope it wasn't too long. Maybe I'll go through and edit it. I wish you guys all luck. I'm happy I did the video. I'm gonna do another update, maybe do a different topic. So, you know, good luck, and you know, I guess if you have any questions, I'll look at them and check them out, and we'll see where this goes. Good luck, everybody.